Could somebody please make it make sense?
This video might get me canceled, but it is what it is. I want to say what I want to say, so let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome to A Pop of Culture. I'm your host, the Esoteric and Facetious, and this is A Pop of Culture, which is my video essay podcast, where I speak on pop culture, social justice, and human experience from a black, bisexual, millennial, Gen Z perspective. Everything, and I mean everything I say should be taken with a grain of salt, as I'm simply a recent college grad with access to a recording device and the internet. With that being said, my youth shouldn't be your sole reason to critique my views unless it's truly relevant. If you disagree with anything I say, let's have a civil conversation in the comment section below. Before we get into the topic of this video, I want to advertise my cover channel, A Pop of Culture Sings, where I sing throwback R&B, contemporary R&B, pop music, whatever I'm feeling, whatever you're feeling. So if you want to be down like Brandy, if you're down with the click R.I.P. Aaliyah, then definitely feel free to check that channel out. So today's video is going to be titled something along the lines of on 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter, and I'm pro-black, but this is too much. So I saw this tweet yesterday. It said something along the lines of, quote this with something that 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter would state, and there were all these replies and it just cracked me up. So I want to first break down what 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter is, and then I also talk about my opinions on 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter. So let's get into it. So I would say 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter is black fan/stan accounts, stan meaning very firmly identified with a pop music act or multiple pop music acts. And I would say stan as in, it's not just, oh, I like this person's music, but I'm going to firmly defend them if anyone critiques them. I'm going to blindly praise them. Everything they do is good. Stan behavior isn't just, I like this. Stan behavior is, I like this, and if you don't like this, there's a problem with that. 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter is people who are black who are also stans of black music acts. Typically people like Normani, Summer Walker, Flo Milli, Chloe and Halle, Ari Lennox, people of that sort. I feel like a lot of 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter is people who are younger and people who are following acts who are still kind of dipping their toe into fame. And I'm somebody who's a huge fan of Chloe, I'm a huge fan of Normani, but I wouldn't consider myself part of 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter, and I'll get into that in a minute. I'm somebody who loves Chloe, I'm somebody who loves Normani, I'm somebody who was hyped for Halle to be in that Little Mermaid film. I enjoyed a lot of Flo Milli's music. I still have to listen to her EP, but I was listening to all her singles leading up to the EP, and I've listened to some of it. I'm a fan of a lot of these black young creatives who are trying to do their thing. I'm a black content creator. I'm someone who likes to sing. I want to make moves with my social media brand, so it's very inspiring to see these young people popping, doing their thing, charting, being at the Met Gala, doing all this. So I support black young creatives, but I feel like one of the issues I'm seeing on 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter is this like weird controlling behavior by stans where they're using these social issues as this rationale for any time their fave doesn't get what they want or doesn't get the immediate success, and it's starting to bother me. So let's get into it. I feel like we've defined the term. Now I will say some of these people, I feel like they are in the conversation, but I feel like once you hit certain thresholds and certain success, I feel like you're in the 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter conversation. But I feel like the people who are the most firmly defended, I feel, are the people who have the most to prove. Summer Walker is a part of the conversation, but because Summer Walker, she's had a lot of success, she's in the conversation. But I feel like people generally will just talk about Summer Walker and kiki about her and her music whenever she drops new music. But I feel like the difference with that and 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter is 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter is, it's this weird thing because the artist is still arriving and still getting their career solid. I feel a lot of the 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter acts that people are always going for, I feel like, no shade, their career at least at this point can't really speak for itself, in the way that they may still be having some shaky footing when it comes to getting everything how it needs to be. So Doja Cat, I wouldn't put her in the 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter category because I feel like she's already had mainstream success. Meg, I don't put her in that category. I feel like once you have a certain level of mainstream success, people will talk about you, but I feel like it's not in this more defensive way I see on 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter. Because I feel like 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter is this group of people, this group of stans who are always trying to defend these people, and they're trying to attack people who are critical of these people because these people's actions, as I said, their career, their actions haven't really fully arrived yet. So I feel like 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter is this response to any criticism that these people get. It's this, oh, well, you can't critique XYZ person because of X. So let's get into it. I feel like we've defined 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter. I've given y'all some context, so let's get into my thoughts on 𝘎𝑃𝒣 Twitter. So as I said, I'm a fan of Chloe. I'm a fan of Normani. I will be buying their albums when they come out, if they come out. Chloe, I know her album is eventually going to come out. Like, I feel like there's been talks about it. I know Normani's is, but it's just like, is it going to be this year? Is it going to be next year? I don't know when. So I'm a fan. I support these black creatives. They inspire me as someone who likes to sing, as someone who's trying to build my social media brand. So let's not get it twisted. But I wanted to get into this issue I have, and it's something very synonymous with shea butter Twitter, and it's why I don't really F with these people, and it's why I said in the beginning of the video, I'm pro-black, but this is too much and it's getting on my nerves. I have started to see these tweets where anytime anybody says anything critical of Normani or Chloe or Ari Lennox or some of these people will say, oh, it's because you hate black women, it's because you hate dark-skinned women, blah, 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 blah. And it's not even just that. It's also this idea of anytime they don't get a certain recognition or success in their career, it's because they're dark-skinned, it's because they're black, it's because they're not racially ambiguous, it's because they're not biracial. And I'm starting to get sick of this. Because here's my thing. Is colorism a thing? Yes. Is texturism a thing? Yes, but at the same time, I feel like if somebody has a hit song, if a song is good, if a song is popping, people do not really care. Oh, this rap song, it sounds great, it sounds fire, but she's this black. She's not this shade of black, she's this shade of black. So I can't listen to it, so I can't rock with it. Like, I feel like it doesn't work like that. Colorism exists in the industry, but I feel like it doesn't exist in the industry the way that shea butter Twitter tries to make it exist in the industry. And what I mean by that is your fave not being nominated for Best New Artist at the Grammys doesn't necessarily always have to do with colorism. Your fave not winning the Best New Artist at the BET Awards doesn't always have to do with colorism. Your fave not winning the Grammy doesn't always have to do with colorism. Your fave not getting whatever accomplishment that you feel they should doesn't always have to do with colorism or people hating black women. And I just feel like this response that people do, they slap it on everything. This person didn't win this person didn't win that. It's because they hate black women, it's because they're colorist, it's because they're this, it's because they're that. I feel like when you say this stuff at every single instant, at every step, every way, I feel like these things lose their power. Is Normani impacted by colorism? Yes. But are her songs popping? Like, you cannot tell me if she released timely, popping singles that were good, that were crossover friendly, that people wouldn't love it. Like I said, colorism is real, texturism is real, misogyny noir, all of that is real. And I'm not ever going to deny that. But I feel like when you take every single accomplishment or failure of somebody and say, oh, it's because they're black, oh, it's because they're a dark-skinned woman, oh, because they're a black woman, I feel like you're taking away some of the accountability of the artist and the team. There are situations, especially with Normani, where her team could have moved differently or promoted her music differently. And that's not to say they're doing a bad job, but it's just to say there are times where things could have been done differently and done better. And I feel like just this slapping of the label of, oh, it's because she's dark-skinned, oh, because she's dark-skinned, oh, because she's dark-skinned, in this way where you attack anybody who's critical of her and say, oh, it's because they hate black women or because they're colorist. I feel like you're making it harder for her to have fans. And here's my thing, if someone rocks with her, they rock with her. But it's just like, when anytime you say something critical of somebody, people try to slap this label of, oh, you hate black women, that turns people off. Because I'm somebody who loves pop music, I love listening to pop music. And any person I like, I can tell you stuff I don't like, because as someone who is critical of music, as someone who likes music myself, who loves to sing, I'm gonna have an opinion on things. And sometimes that opinion is going to be good, sometimes that opinion is going to be bad. Not everything that an artist does I'm going to like, but for me to be invested in them, I'm going to have to develop opinions on things. I like this, I don't like this. And when these fans on shea butter Twitter turn every critique into what, oh, it's because you hate black women, oh, it's because you hate black women, oh, it's because you hate black women, I feel like you're just ruining the conversation. People are going to have opinions on songs, people are going to have opinions on outfits, and not everything is laced in black woman hatred or misogyny noir. I feel like it's getting out of hand. Somebody cannot like Ari Lennox single and it not be colorism or hatred of black women. Her song cannot chart well, and it can not necessarily be directly correlated to racism or colorism. It's weird because this stuff only happens when it's something that doesn't go the way they want. So it's like, let's say that Vogue gave Normani the cover. Let's say that Normani was given a huge opportunity. Then it's like, yes, 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 we love this. But it's like anytime something goes a way that the fans don't want, anytime things don't go always to plan, it's racism and hatred of black women. And I'm just gonna say this, there is colorism, there is misogyny noir, there is hatred of black women, and I'm never going to deny that. But when you make it that every non-win in somebody's career has nothing to do with their talent, has everything to do with their identity, you're stopping them from using that feedback and those results as a way to fuel their own passion and their own drive. And of course, what I mean by that is, if Normani has a single that's not hidden like that, like Fair, and she's objective and her team is objective, and they say, okay, well, this song didn't really do that well, what can we do to get a single together that is going to do well? But if they listen to shea butter Twitter and they internalize all these ideas of, oh, the only reason why she's not winning is because people hate black women, of course I feel like they wouldn't listen to that. But I feel like that just takes away the accountability of her and her team. And I don't know, I'm just very troubled with this type of activism because I'm somebody who is pro-black American. I love being black. I love my black culture. But it's just like, to see y'all keep using these terms in these incorrect ways, it's just tiring because it's just like, if you pay attention, a lot of these stars that y'all love so much, they've had to fight for their career, especially these black icons. They didn't get instant success. So it's like a lot of these people y'all call black legends, these people who are black legends in their own right, people like Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, people like Beyonce, it's like they didn't just come out the gate being successful. Like, with Beyonce, she had Girls' Time. Remember, they lost Star Search? She had Destiny's Child before Destiny's Child was Destiny's Child, and then going into Destiny's Child. She had to develop. They didn't get every single thing immediately. Their debut album did not pop off like the writings on the wall. I feel like they took whatever challenges they had within their career and kept going back and working harder, and they were able to break through. They were able to become more and more successful. But if they lived by these Shea Butter Twitter standards, then anytime they didn't get what they wanted immediately, they would have just crossed their arms and said, oh, well, we're a black female group, and because we're a black female group, and because the world hates black women, we can't have what we want. There's nothing wrong with calling out these social issues, but I feel like the issues, people are taking it overboard. Like, just those tweets, I cannot stand them. The fact that y'all have so much to say about Chloe, the fact that y'all have so much to say about Normani just shows how much you hate black women, just how much colorist you are, And it's just like, no. People are allowed to have opinions on pop culture acts. I'm not saying there aren't opinions towards Chloe or Normani or other young black pop acts that aren't entrenched in bias. But my issue is those tweets of just, oh my gosh, everyone just hating on Normani because she's black. No, some people simply don't feel that she's living up to all the hype that y'all have built up for her. And here's my thing. I feel like misogynoir, colorism, anti-blackness, I feel like they are a part of all different aspects of our society. So I don't want to be one of those people who's like, oh, well, y'all talking about anti-blackness in this case is harming our community because you're not talking about the real anti-blackness over there. There is anti-blackness, there is colorism in the music industry. But I feel like I said, it's not in the way y'all think it is. It's not in the way that, oh, my dark-skinned fave didn't get a #1 single on their first single in the Hot 100, so now there's colorism towards them. I feel like some of y'all don't understand how the music industry works. For an act, especially some of these acts who are niche acts, I feel like a lot of these acts, especially like young black acts that are building a following and building a brand in music, I feel like some of these expectations that people have of them, it's like, it's nothing wrong with y'all wanting Chloe Bailey or Normani to get a #1 single, but it's just like, getting a #1 single either requires tons of people are buying and streaming the song, or somebody having a huge pre-existing fan base. And usually it's a mix of both. Even people like Ariana Grande can get a #1 single based off of her popularity and also the song being decent to good. But even if you look at Ariana Grande has had songs chart on #1 for a week and fall off. Even she, who has all of this popularity and fame, she can't simply just make a song and it go #1. If she wants a song to stay at #1 or stay in the top 10, even she has to have not just a following, not just being white, she has to have the music be good. The music has to be good enough that people also F with it. And I feel like that's the part that Shea Butter Twitter isn't getting. Listen to me, and listen to me very clearly. I'm gonna get close. Not every musical accomplishment or achievement or lack of achievement or non-win is directly correlated to somebody being light-skinned or dark-skinned. And when you make every accomplishment or achievement tied to that, I feel like you take away the artistry, the music. And yes, there's politics to music, but it's just like, it's weird. It's like people act like nobody who is dark-skinned or who is black in music ever won before or ever had success before. And I feel like there's just this other weird thing too with people like Normani. Like, people act like Normani is our last chance. Like, anytime I see people being critical of Normani, people are like, you know, she's this brown-skinned, dark-skinned girl. We want her to win. And I'm like, I want her to win too. But at the same time, I'm not going to force a circle into a square hole. Like, I want her to win, and she's set up for success with the fact that she's already got the fame, she's already got the followers. So all she has to do is give us good music. But at the same time, Normani's not the only talented black woman out there. If she and her team, with all the resources they have available to them, can't make it work, somebody else will. I just feel very weird about this. I want to support black people, but I'm one of those people where I'm like, I'm not holding my breath out for anybody. If somebody's music is good, I'm gonna rock with it, but I'm not gonna sit here and like force them to be a star. Like, my thing with people like Beyonce, part of her being a star was people supporting her, but I feel like it's one of those give and take things where it's like, Beyonce puts out good poppin' music, and so we buy the music, we support the music. It's not this like weird social contract that I feel like people are trying to force on to black people, where it's like, oh well, because Normani's brown skinned and because we like her because Normani's brown skin and because we don't have brown skin representation. I feel like with Beyonce, it's like Beyonce gave us poppin' music and poppin' performances. So there wasn't this whole thing of we have to support her. We need to support her because she's our only choice. But I feel like with Normani, that's the vibe I get. I feel like I shouldn't be pressured into this weird like contract of because she's a certain hue of brown, now somehow if I want to be a good woke person, I have to support everything she does. My thing is this: if you are talented, if you are poppin', I'm gonna support you. There are certain artists like Christina, like Brandy, like Whitney Houston, like Janet Jackson, where it's like their music was poppin', their talent was poppin', and I decided I'm going to support this person. I'm going to engage with their work. And with Normani, I feel that way, where she's giving me a show, she's giving me the performances I want. But it's just with her team, there's so many weird things where it's feeling like her fans want it more than her team does. If you're a public figure, I feel like you should always be in our face, whether it be a magazine, whether it be a billboard. And I feel like they've done some of that, but it's not on the level of like a Meg or a Lil Nas X. And maybe it's because she hasn't had that success yet, but I don't know. I feel like I want to see more. If you want to be poppin', you have to do things that are poppin'. And I just feel like you can't want this massive career, because I've even seen her liking tweets where it'll be like somebody will tweet something like, oh, Normani's one of the biggest stars of our generation. And it's just like, well, sis, if you are, then act like it. Have your team act like it. It's just weird to me because even with the BBMAs, and maybe there was a situation that we don't know about, but I'm like, sis, where are you? And if you're not there, people were like, oh, is she going to be there? Is she going to be there? I'm like, what is going on? Like, I'm just so confused. I'm like, is this girl locked up somewhere? Like, is everything okay at home? Because I'm like, even if she just posted her Instagram story, hey guys, unfortunately, I will not be at the BBMAs. I love y'all. I'm so glad that y'all want to see me there. As long as y'all keep streaming and supporting, one day I will be there and I will be performing. But going back to the Shea Butter Twitter thing, it's just so annoying to me because I just feel like it's overcompensating. It's insecurity and it's overcompensating. Normani's talent should speak for itself. Our Lennox's talent should speak for itself. Chloe Bailey's talent should speak for itself. I think it does. It's kind of like what my parents used to tell me. It's like, if you're smart, you don't have to say you're smart. And I feel like with Normani, with Chloe, with all these people in their stands, if they are poppin', y'all don't need to keep telling people if they don't like them that they're anti-black and they're this and they're that. You're trying to stifle criticism by weaponizing their identity, their skin color and stuff like that. And I'm not for that. Because skin color is not something to play with, hair texture is not something to play with, anti-blackness is not something to play with, anti-black woman sentiment is not something to play with, and it's not something to pull out of your back pocket anytime anybody has something to say about your fave. I think people need to understand that the music industry is not there to make you happy. The music industry is not this gumball machine. It's like, just because you want your black fave to win, and just because you like your black fave, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have immediate success. And that's my thing. I feel like as long as people do this thing where any criticism of these public figures is met with, oh, it's because you're anti-black, you're going to continue to stifle their ability to build an audience on these platforms because you're using serious topics that impact people on a daily basis to win a Twitter argument, and I don't have time for it. So those are my feelings on Shea Butter Twitter and all of the foolishness that ensues on Shea Butter Twitter. So let me know your thoughts below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Love y'all. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Like this video if you like this video. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the points I made in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, definitely like, comment, subscribe, and share. That way, even if YouTube isn't pushing my content, those who resonate with it are sharing it so it can connect with others who would enjoy it. Those are some easy, free ways to support a pop of culture. If you want to support this show financially, feel free to send a tip to my Cash App or buy me a cup of coffee, both are linked below. All who donate will be featured in the credits of my long-form commentary and cover videos. There are 2 playlists that are going to pop up, one where you can binge watch my covers and one where you can binge watch my commentary. Enjoy. Bye-bye.